Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Making 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 39 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed by Hagoromo. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was the direct descendant of the sage over an anime king, and enjoy that guys. And I also posted a brand new episode over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto was put through hell and adopted by the Raikage. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King 2 and Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Naruto Osusuke had finally emerged. Well, his full power, as he told them. He was no longer holding back, as he has never pushed himself this far before, always choosing to hold back for the sake of having a good fight. But the army was consuming him, as they tried to seal him away not once but twice. Itachi tried to seal him away, but Naruto literally break through time and space to arrive back. He was then sealed away by Mito and the others. He had warned them. He warned them that if they tried anything against him, they will not like it. So with that he emerged. His eyes were different, and his head had a crown on it. The bones, the horns, seems to form his head like a crown, like some kind of a king. He came down as he took Madara first creating copies of himself that didn't seem like clones, more like solid copies. As he took on Madara, Naruto moved mountains as he defeat Madara quite swiftly. Although Madara did put up a good battle, the power that Naruto had, the gap was just immense. As Naruto came back, as he flared his power, Hagoromo and Hamura felt it, the unending rage in his power. As most of them lost their morale when they saw Hagoromo and Hamura stop, as Naruto beat Hagoromo to the point where he had to knee. As he told them why Hagoromo did all of this, it was because he was jealous. Known as a sage of 6 paths, someone who was supposed to be pure, a monk. But no, Hagoromo was always jealous of Naruto, as a power that Naruto wielded was something that he couldn't muster. And Naruto was born special, better than him that was supposed to be a god. So in the day when he locked away Naruto, he enjoyed that, as he wanted him to be locked away for a very long time. He really enjoyed that day. But now, the people around started to get their morale when Oniki spoke, but Naruto decided to quickly break that as he summoned hundreds of wooden vines that came from the ground. These were different from Hoshirama plants. These were more vicious, as they skewered and ripped people to shreds. Many Konoha ninjas, many stone, many ninja died right there. Mito and the others attacked Naruto as Naruto gave them no mercy. He slaughtered Sasuke, and Mito rushed towards him as she was going in for the direct attack, her mind not even focusing that he was once her brother, as he had warned her. As Naruto killed her, Haku was shocked that he actually did it, as he ripped the 9 tails away from her. As Haku dropped to her knees, she didn't see any point anymore, and with that Naruto silenced her by killing her as well. As the army had stopped, the morale was completely broken. It was then that Naruto looked up. Finally they arrived, as Momoshiki came down with Kinshiki. Kinshiki took on Naruto, as Naruto showed the raw power that he had to muster as a 2-tank battled it out. Momoshiki saw the power that his mortal bestow. He decided to, well, take it, as he absorbed Kinshiki first. And with that, Momoshiki transformed into a complete different being, its power skyrocketing as he trampled upon Naruto. But instead of breaking or going down near the smile, he exploded out of the earth like a geyser as his body was flushed with excitement. Meanwhile, as Ishiki was there as well. Ishiki was planning something that would greatly benefit him. But first, he needed Naruto's will to be broken because what he was trying to do, it was going to be hard if Naruto's mindset was still powerful. Yes, very very hard. So with that, he transported himself towards an unknown location where a miniature Tail was as he absorbed the power. As it's time that he got to work. So yeah guys, that was basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So this begins this new episode. Yujito was worried. Yes, she was. As she was standing on the roof. Beside her was Karin, and Guren, and Teiwaya. As they were watching, everyone in the entire city was watching. Everyone was there. As Karin watched the battle in front of her on the monitors, it was over the entire barrier. Everyone could witness it. Not to mention all of the minor nations that Naruto had conquered. They alone were spared from the calamities that were taking place. The minor nations and the Otsutsuki Empire. Yes, the minor nations also had a barrier around them. Having allies, people that worship him. Naruto wouldn't want them to die like this, so he let Karin create the same thing for them as well. So they were being protected as they could see the war that will change this entire world. All the minor nations that Naruto had conquered were watching this. All of them were seeing what was going on. For them to understand there was no hope of him ever falling. To further make them realize that he was the true god of this world. As the leaders of those minor nations that run things for Naruto, they were grateful that their lord had decided to spare them by creating this barrier on their home as well. Yujito felt a hand on her shoulder as she looked back towards Teiwaya. Stop worrying so much, would you? How couldn't I? He's fought so many people before. He's bound to get tired at one point, she said. And then they will try to take advantage of him. And if that happens, I myself will go out there and fight until my last breath, Teiwaya said. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So, I'll protect him with everything I got. Not to mention everyone else here. He's gonna come through this. He did make you a promise, right? Yes. And has he ever broken a promise to you? Asked Guren. No. Then why are you losing faith now? I'm not losing faith. I'm just worried. Don't worry, kitten. He's gonna pull through this. He's strong. He's no mere mortal. He's a god. No one can defeat him. Yujito released a sigh of relief. I suppose you're right, she said. It was then that the air behind them started to ripple. The four of them turned confused as they glanced towards the rippling air. Karin, what's going on? Said Yujito. I don't know, said Karin. As she watched, Naruto chakra was fighting against whatever this thing was. This thing trying to breach into the barrier. But this thing seemed to be strong, as his overwhelming presence break through. Using a space-time ninjutsu warping hole, he was able to sap right into Naruto dome. Where Naruto chakra was protecting all his people, he landed on one knee though. To think that it was only his chakra and it was so strong, said Jigen as he clenched his fists and opened his fists. Who the hell are you? Asked Guren as she got to her feet, glaring at the newcomer. Jigen simply smiled at that. Excuse me, he said, but I'll be taking you all. In a rather polite tone he said it, as the girls got ready to move. Meanwhile, the entire world was worrying at the sight. The entire elemental nation, given the fact that the sky was, well, looming down death on them. Konoha, the sand, Kumo, and the stone. Four massive meteors were suspended up in the sky. They weren't moving. It was a deterrent to show them that they have nothing to do against him. To show them that if they did not bow, he would just annihilate every single thing. The world was frightened. Meanwhile, two broken people stood at the bits of chaos. It was none other than the sage of Sixth Path who was known to be the god of this world, but that was a gravely misunderstatement. And his brother, Homura, who had always wanted peace between his little family but never got it. He was always the cheerful one in the family after all. Why didn't he kill us? Said Homura, as he knew that Naruto had the power to annihilate them, especially after his new transformation. I don't know, Hagoromo said. You could see it in the man's eyes, his Rinnegan eyes looking defeated. The last hope they had of Naruto not killing Mito, to had some shred of old Naruto inside of him, was gone because he slaughtered the three of them, Sasuke, Mito, and Haku. And he did not even bat an eye, showing that persona, Naruto Uzumaki, was nothing but a persona that was now annihilated from his soul. He was Naruto Osusuke, the one and only. The two brothers did not know why he did not kill them. They were still alive and he left them to fight this new foe. As Hagoromo knew that he was strong, but this new foe that arrived, Momoshiki, was stronger than him, as that was two beings combined together. Momoshiki had fused with Kinshiki, and Hagoromo could feel the power just roaring from it. It was like a beast. And yet, Naruto was like a tank standing up to that massive beast. Their battle was shaking the crevice of the earth. The core in the earth was vibrating. If this goes on for any longer, they might blow up the entire planet. As Hagoromo knew that his mother was a being of immense power. His mother could create dimensions, realities, solar system. That is how powerful his mother was. And yet this person said that he's stronger than his mother. Yes, Momoshiki. Hagoromo knew that Naruto had passed the strength of his mother a long time ago. They had made it worse by sealing him away. But could he win this fight? Hagoromo wondered. Meanwhile, as Momoshiki stood tall, a few scratches here and there, but nothing too detrimental over him. You still try to defy the words of a god, mortal. How much time do I have to tell you? You are nothing compared to me. As there was a massive, gaping hole that was the size of Konoha in the ground. It was large, you could barely see the end of it, but Momoshiki could see it clearly, as his Rinnegan, well, the one in his forehead, and his Byakugan were golden. They were yellow, yes. And his eyes were far advanced than any Hyuga, so he could see Naruto at the end of it. As Momoshiki clenched his fist tighter, once again this mortal keep on defying him. Why? Momoshiki slammed his hand on a massive pillar next to him, destroying it as it burst into stone. He was laughing once again. As Naruto pulled himself out of the ground, rising up from the ashes like a phoenix, a bloodthirsty grin on his face. Is that all you got? He said. As Momoshiki looked down towards him. You said that you were stronger than Kaguya, correct? Yes, I am the strongest, said Momoshiki. You should be bowing down to me. Perhaps I can use you to be one of my followers if you bow and renounce your strength right here and now. I guess you don't understand how this thing works, do you? You're strong. Very strong. Even stronger than anyone I've faced before. Far stronger than my brother, said Naruto. As that just made Naruto's smile increase. But something you're lacking. You don't have any ninja experience. Not to say I have much, but my younger years, I remember everything. But still it doesn't matter. Because you might call yourself a god. But I am Naruto Uzumaki. This world belongs to me, as you can see that moon up there. My name is written on it. So, God, what do you say we end this, said Naruto. Momoshiki shifted his feet as his Rinnegan pulsed red as he was about to release a titanic ability. The ground around him erupted as a massive figure made from lava and stone was created. A roar could be heard, a roar that split the heavens, but it was not from the creature. It was a thing that slammed into the creature, Ragnarok, knocking the thing away. I will handle this, father, he said as he stomped and bit into the thing's shoulder, tearing the rock to pieces. The thing grabbed Ragnarok and threw him away. Well, I guess he can handle that, said Naruto. Now, How about you and Momoshiki vanish and appear behind Naruto? His feet cutting through the air at blinding speed as Naruto ducked under the blow. Before spinning as he swept away Momoshiki's other leg, Momoshiki raised his hand in front of Naruto's face as a gravitational force slammed into Naruto. It buried his body underground. But Momoshiki had not expected Naruto to grab his leg as he was also yanked underground as well. The both of them tearing through the earth as Naruto slammed his body through the earth. Momoshiki coughed before bringing his foot around as he spun a roundhouse kick straight towards Naruto's temple, who blocked it. As Naruto blocked it with his arm, a sonic boom went off that shook the underground. Momoshiki's white hair exploded outwards as they came to stab into Naruto. Naruto's eyes pulsed and blew them all away as he brought his foot down to squash Momoshiki's skull. Momoshiki grabbed the leg as he spun Naruto and threw him. He then shot forward as he aimed for direct points right into Naruto's sternum as he slammed a harsh punch in Naruto's stomach. Blood exploded from Naruto's mouth as he was thrown, breaking through tons of solid rock. Momoshiki appeared and grabbed Naruto's head as Naruto licked the blood off his cheek before grabbing Momoshiki's arm and twisting him around as he grabbed him by the back of the head and dropped him like a bomb. The earth shook even more as everyone upstairs, well, above earth, couldn't maintain their velocity as he had to leap away to a far distance. The remaining ninjas, Snavy was literally broken as she watched the chaos unfold around him. None of them could stop it. The earth just kept on shaking like it was about to be torn apart at any moment. Only he was silent. Snavy was silent. The Raikage was silent for once as well. They didn't see how they could measure up. The two beings that were supposed to be their big tank in this war seemed to be nowhere to be seen. And Mito, Sasuke, and the others were dead now. Snady still couldn't believe that Naruto actually killed him. She thought at least he would hold back and Mito was his sister, but it seems like that Naruto was long gone. He did warn them to not try to steal him away. The ground exploded as the two people burst from it as he landed back on Earth. As Naruto had the smile still etched on his face, Momoshiki raised his hand as chains exploded from his palms. Red chains that came towards Naruto and twirled him around. Momoshiki then yanked it only for Naruto to slam its heel into the ground, stopping the momentum as he instead pulled Momoshiki towards him. Naruto then pulled his head back and smashed it right into Momoshiki's skull. As a huge sonic wave went off once again, pulverizing the earth. Momoshiki staggered back as Naruto spun, its leg coming up in a quick fast motion. 3 brutal kicks slammed into the side of Momoshiki's temple as blood sprayed from the contact. As Naruto's hits were like mountains. Blam! His fists connected in Momoshiki's face, throwing the man off the ground. As Naruto vanished with a pure speed and dropped his heel into Momoshiki's stomach. As Naruto then came down from the sky, Momoshiki's arm twitched as a red staff appeared. He slammed it into Naruto's face, knocking him straight up in the sky. He then sank his knees before leaping upwards, moving in titanic speed. A fist smashed into Naruto's gut. Another one, before Momoshiki turned and kicked Naruto under the chin, launching him right through the earth atmosphere. As Naruto staggered, as he floated in space, Momoshiki appeared and brought his hand above Naruto's skull and dropped it like an axe, only for Naruto to grab it. As he twisted and grabbed Momoshiki as he held on to him tight, he squeezed the man. Momoshiki waited in pain as Naruto was literally breaking him. Naruto then turned his feet as he released a dose amount of wind chakra. It exploded before sending the both of them straight down to the ground as they came down like a missile. As Naruto here extended and blinded Momoshiki so he could not move. As Naruto released him, boom! Another crater exploded in the earth, destroying everything around. The both of them were far out in the hidden sand by now, as they were moving from direction to direction. The cameras that Karen created barely keeping up as it was tracking Naruto chakra. It had a small hints of Naruto chakra inside so to follow his movements. Is that it? Said Naruto. Is that all the fight your body can muster? Are you down now? Asusuke Naruto asks. Enough, Momoshiki said, as the man erupted. Pure immense power. The entire western eastern board of the sand was annihilated by a gravitational force. The sand was blown to oblivion. It went deep and deep and deep until it showed the crevice of the earth, all the sand blown away. Momoshiki raised his hands to the sky. You will not keep on defying me, human, he said. You will bow. As he raised his hand, a literal ball of death started to create. As Naruto looked up, before he clenched his fist, as his hand started to glow, the silver energy flooding into his hand. His hand started to glow bright silver. Now, bow, said Momoshiki as he threw the ball. As Naruto shot off his feet and slammed its fist right into it, the ball exploded. The explosion annihilates a good portion of the wild outskirts of the sand. The village was safe, seeing that it was far, far, far away. But the entire area was annihilated. The heat was beyond intense, as the technique had destroyed, even glassifying much of the sand around this area. Momoshiki stood up in mid-air panting. The man looked exhausted, throwing around techniques after techniques. As Naruto stood on the ground, he was also panting a bit. After all, he has been fighting the entire day. But Momoshiki was already looking exhausted. Few scratches here and there over him, but other than that, nothing too wrong. You finally saw, human, that you are nothing more, said Momoshiki, trying to keep up the facade that he was a god. What I see is you are the panting from our little scroll, said Naruto. Haven't you realized yet? I've been fighting the entire day, and yet you've only made me pant once. But you already look like you're tired, said Naruto. Unlike me, you're weird when you come towards chakra. You don't have enough. You have to absorb it. That's rather weird. Guess I was the lucky one being born half human. Guess your abilities suck. Momoshiki scoffed at that, as the air around him started to melt. You think I have fallen, he said. No, not quite yet, said Naruto. But this is over. The time for playing around is done. Why don't we end this once and for all? There's no need to waste unnecessary strength on you. I've already had my enjoyment, my fun. If I were to dig deeper, I would just get angry. And neither of us would like that. What are you trying to insinuate, human? That you are still doing this for your enjoyment, said Momoshiki. Yes, said Naruto. It's weird. I don't know what I am exactly. But I sure am not human. Not anymore. I was half human before. But not anymore after taking the Jubi's power inside of me. My anger, no bound. That is why I'm calm most time and looking for a good fight. Because if I was to get really angry, I don't know what I'll do. You keep on overestimating yourself. You're nothing but a merely human that was gifted power that you don't deserve. If you say so, said Naruto. As Naruto's breath returned back to normal. Why don't we end this, said Naruto, as he held his hand up to the sky. Yes, said Momoshiki. White lightning started to crackle from Naruto, as his eyes started to blaze with lightning, its entire body crackling with it. Momoshiki started to get brighter and brighter, forcing out the power out of his body as the two of them shot forward. Boom! The explosion was nothing normal. It was nothing this world has ever seen before. The barriers that were safeguarded to protect the nations trembled under the might. They even started to crack before Naruto chakra filled them back out. The sand houses were demolished. The hidden rain houses were trampled. Konoha was broken as a bristle of energy washed through them. Shinobis were launched off their feet. As the two tightened, their shockwaves seemed to affect the entire earth, shaking everywhere. Once the dust finally cleared, Momoshiki was on one knee, as Naruto was on one knee as well, but Naruto was the first one to stand up. Blam! His knee slammed right into Momoshiki's temple. The man staggered back as Naruto grabbed him by the face. This was fun, as Naruto slammed him down into the earth. As he picked Momoshiki up by his head, boom! Momoshiki's face slammed into Naruto's chest. Bam! 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 But Naruto stood there unfazed. It wasn't that Naruto has gotten stronger, it was that Momoshiki has gotten a lot weaker. As he could feel his power being drained away from him. What are you doing to me? As Naruto simply smiled as he said nothing. Meanwhile, at the Osusuke Empire, the ceiling top was cleared. Yes, from where the girls were, they were gone. No one was the wiser, as Naruto chakra tried to fight it off. But him had been separated from his chakra, Naruto could not feel what was going on, as this other force had entered the barrier. And given the fact that everyone was watching the battle, they weren't paying attention towards the highest tower. Not even the main guards were there as well. So the girls were just gone. Either they were dead or they were taken. No one knew. But when the camera finally caught up to where Naruto was, everyone started to cheer as Momoshiki was nowhere to be seen. No one knew what happened, but from what they saw, their lord must have killed him because Naruto Osusuke stood tall. His body looked beaten, yes. Cuts and scrapes all over him. His body not healing as fast as it should be because he was tired. But he wasn't that weak for any person right now in the elemental nation that he did not know of could hurt him like any normal ninja. He could still slaughter. But perhaps if Hagoromo and Hammer was to take him on right now and push themselves combining, they might be able to bring him down. But yet still he was unfazed by that as he simply started to walk. He wasn't running, he was simply walking. Hagoromo and Hammer had no idea what was going on, seeing that the both of them were just unaware of their fate, not knowing what to do now, seeing that they failed. But the explosions had stopped, the earth had stopped shaking. That massive explosion a minute ago, perhaps that was the end of it. As no one didn't know what to do or say, while the Osusuke Empire was cheering loudly. As Naruto had won, it was all over. As Naruto looked up towards the camera, as he had a smile on his face, hoping that the girls would see this. As he wondered how Yuchito was doing, before he paused as he glanced up toward the sky. "So you want to fight now?" he asked. "Oh, not really. I was just watching," said Yorishiki. "What did you do exactly?" he asked as he looked around. It was like he was just there one moment and then next he was not. "You talking about your friend?" said Naruto. "Yes," said Yorishiki. "I have no idea," said Naruto. Vague are you?" Yorishiki said. "But do you really think that you can fight me in this state that you're in right now?" Naruto laughed. "Well then, come and try it. Why don't you make the first move? I'll give you that." Yorishiki narrowed his eyes at Naruto. Yorishiki was a scout. He was not as strong as Momoshiki. Nowhere near that level. He was strong, but not as Momoshiki. As he looked at Naruto, Momoshiki always tried to boss him around. It's not like he was indebted to him or anything. Perhaps fighting him right now would not be wise at all. Perhaps I'll just view from now on. "I'm gonna kill you," said Naruto. "I'm gonna come after you and kill you. You won't escape." "Well then, let's just wait until that time comes," said Yorishiki, with a small smile on his face, before he flew off rather quickly. As Naruto stood there, despite his weakness, he was no coward. He feared nothing and feared no one. If they wanted to fight him, let them come. He would crush them under his palm like the god he was. So with that, he blurred out of sight, moving with immense speed. Meanwhile, Tsunade, the Raikage, made their way, along with Oniki floating towards Hagoromo and Hamura. So, what now? One of the many ninja behind them asked. What do you mean what now? Another one said. It's all over, can't you see that? We lost. The world is his. And those things up there are just a deterrent. As everyone looked up in the sky, the meteors were still there. Yes, they hadn't broken, they were just still there, hovering. If we step out of line, he will kill us all. Can't you see that we've lost? The two strong beings did not say a single word, just watching everything. As Hagoromo looked at his palm, he thought he could have been stronger. He thought that he would have been stronger to actually. But it was just a waste. Meanwhile, the Shinigami watched over everything from where he was. Even with that, yet still they weren't able to defeat him. People might have not seen what Naruto did to Momoshiki, but he did. The Shinigami saw what Naruto did. Despite him not being telling Naruto the future, he saw what Naruto did. The boy was coming after him soon enough. But this boy don't know what he's getting himself into. He was a god of death. He will smite him like the cockroach he is. Then why? Why couldn't he see when the boy's gonna die? That was one thing that concerned him. This being think that he can become so omnipotent that he can break and defy the laws of reality. Beings like him did not last long because of their power, hungry drive. Their power to succeed and pass everyone. And he would make sure of that. Whenever this boy decided to face him, he would tear his soul to cinders and spread it across the universe, so it will never be reformed. So he will never be who he is ever again. The Shinigami was waiting for the boy to come and attack him. But that was not the only thing. He had a rude awakening left for him. Well, you will find out that soon enough. Meanwhile, the Konoha team, well, ninjas that remained. It was a mixture after all. As the group was silent, in fact, they didn't know what to do right now. If there was an enemy trying to take over the world, the combined forces of the Elemental Nation was always powerful enough to stop them. But yet, they lost. So they didn't know what to expect or what to do right now. Everything felt hopeless. Tsunade didn't want to be Hokage anymore. She didn't see the point, as the job seemed fruitless right now. If there was a tyrant that took over everything, what was the point? As the others were worried, he warned them not to come up against him, and that he would crush all of them if they did. So they were stumped on what to expect as they waited in silence. That was when Naruto finally arrived. As he stood there, despite his long battle, his body looked like he was ready to start up another scuffle. I'll only say this once. Bow. That one word resonated through everyone. Ninjas looked at each other as one of them went down, then another, then another, then another, then another, and another. All of the ninjas were there, start to go down to their knees, except for the Kages. As Naruto stepped forward, that included 3 of you, he said. Oniki clenched his fist tight. As Naruto raised his hands up to the heaven, would you really risk all of your people just because of your stupid attitude? You know what? I'll annihilate you and your entire village, so there wouldn't be more problems. Do you really want that? Said Naruto. That goes for all of you. I know how much you have come to see that village. As one you lead, Tsunade, said Naruto. Although I feel like you want to give up the position right now, because of what have happened recently, to go back in your drunken stupor. But if you 3 do not bow, I'll annihilate the rest of this world, leaving only the Osusuke Empire and the village that I own. All of them. While the major nations will be nothing more than a dust and a fickle memory on the back of people's mind after years has passed. Tsunade clenched her face before she released it. What's the point, she says. She dropped to one knee. Oniki was the next one to go down as well. He had many people in his village to protect as a Kage, his pride. will not allow him to make them die because of it. The Raikage clenched his fist in rage. The Kumo ninjas nearby was worried. They know the Raikage and they knew how stubborn he was. To bow to this man that killed his brother, that destroyed his home, that snapped his ninja's neck right in front of him. The man was twitching to launch himself at Naruto. Naruto raised his hand to the sky. The Raikage dropped to his knees, knowing what Naruto would do if he did not. As he lowered his head, it was then that Hagoromo and Hamuro came over. Both of them looking at Naruto. Let me guess. You want to try and defeat me? Neither of them said anything. It was Hagoromo that broke the silence. You took the 10 tails. All that power. You also took the other half of 9 tails from your sister. You have all of it. So I'm not fooled by this little act that you're putting on. You're not weakened, not even a bit. Because you can simply absorb that power if you haven't already. And this is just a show. So you finally understand, said Naruto, that you can't win. It took you long enough, said Naruto. As he walked over, are you ready to apologize? Hagoromo lowered his head. He closed his eyes as Hamura looked towards Naruto. Hamura spoke. Naruto, He was cut off. As he looked down towards his chest, where Naruto's hand pierced right through him, Hagoromo tried to move, but Naruto grabbed his chest. As the man felt his movements, a whole silver chain started to creep into his skin as he screamed out before dropping towards his knees. Brother, Hamura said. I'm doing you a favor, said Naruto. As he slowly, gently put Hamura down to the ground. Despite your shortcomings, despite you being a follower, you always try to solve things in a different way. You always try to preach peace to us. That is why I'm killing you. I'm giving you the satisfaction of death to return you back to where you came from. Unlike him, said Naruto as he looked towards Hagoromo who was on the ground. You wanted to seal me away as well, but you didn't really want to. I see it in your eyes, brother. That is why. I'm allowing you the sweet relief of death. As the look of understanding passed over Hamura's face before all light left his eyes. What are you doing to me? Hagoromo said. Payback, said Naruto, as he kicked him right in the face. You sealed me away. You were the one that tricked the seal. You did all of this because of your arrogant pride. Don't you think there was a reason why I haven't killed you? Because I want you to suffer. I want you to pay. That is why. As Naruto ripped open space and time and reached in before he pulled out a cube, I had a friend of mine, Karen Uzumaki, developed this nasty thing for me. Well, of the old creation. Look familiar? Hagoromo's eyes went widen. It's the same box. Advancement, said Naruto. She was able to tap into the seals inside so I could give you the torture that I wanted. Oh, brother. I assure you, this will be hell on earth for you. You will pay for eternity because I will never free you. And I won't put it in any place for anyone in the future to ever free you. I'll send it into space, far, 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 far away, in the crevice of the unknown universe, where you will drift and remain in torture, in isolation, for centuries, millennia. No, please, don't do this, Hagoromo said. Just kill me. Just do it. You aren't wondering how I can do this with you just being back for a day, said Naruto. Well, I guess you're too panicked. The Shinigami might give you back your life for a day. But with this, I'll trap your soul inside. So it doesn't matter if you die, you will still be there. And your pleas won't work on me. I want you to suffer. I want you to feel unimaginable pain. I want you to suffer over and over, reliving everything. As Naruto grabbed him by the chest, The markings spread all over him. Remember when I told you I would never learn Fuinjutsu because it wasn't that important? Yes, I was wrong. As Naruto slammed his hand deeper into his chest, Hagoromo screamed, tears leaked from his eyes, begging Naruto to stop, but he did not, as his soul was sucked away into the box. Hagoromo blinked as he looked around, confused to where he was. He tried to move, but he could not, as he winced in pain, only down to see that he was skewered. Chains ripping through his arms and limbs, skewering him to a post as blood leaked from his mouth. There was a chain that ripped his entire chest cavity open, but yet he was alive. "Hello, brother," said a voice. To his surprise, Naruto was standing there, with a smile on his face. "Welcome to your eternity." Hagoromo screamed on top of his lungs, but no one will ever hear him. Naruto tore open space and time again. The box was gone as he threw it inside. He then started to walk away. "I'll be in touch," he said, before he snapped his finger. The rocks in the air crumbled up and burst. "Don't try anything stupid now. It's just a snap away, like this, and your entire nation is gone." As he just walked away, leaving behind the broken people who fought a war that they shouldn't have. They knew they should have left him alone, but now they realized that that was a big mistake for going up against him, a literal god. As Naruto marched back towards his home, the ground then started to shift in front of him as something came out. As it was none other than Zetsu. "You again," said Naruto. You won." "Did you think any less of me?" said Naruto. "Of course I won." Zetsu looked at Naruto. "What now?" "Now I go home." What about mother?" said Naruto. "Yes." As Zetsu was preparing to run if Naruto was gonna try to kill him, knowing him he would. "I'm gonna free her," said Naruto. "Let me get back a bit of strength first." Zetsu was shocked. "What?" said Naruto. "I promised you I would, didn't I?" Zetsu couldn't believe it. Well, it wasn't really like a promise. Naruto just warned him that if he come near him again, he would slaughter him. And he told him that he would release her one way or another. "Why? You wanted this. Why are you questioning my judgments?" Zetsu think that he was being punk, so he had to ask. All she wanted was to control the world, because she thought of herself above everything else. I think the same way. Being locked away by your own sons must be really hard. Being locked away by your own brothers was hard, so I understand. So I'll bring her back. She has a family to look forward to." Zetsu was happy. He was happy when Naruto grabbed his throat, as Naruto tear him out of the earth. "But I don't like you. Be gone." Zetsu's scream as fire erupted over his body as Naruto incinerated him before he brushed off his hand. "Insolent worm," he said. He looked up in the sky. "Well, I guess you have a grandchild to meet when you're back. I'll free you soon enough," said Naruto as he started to walk, as he did not see the point of keeping her sealed away for so long anymore. As he made his way, the moment he did, the barrier fell. Hundreds of cheers could be heard, but Naruto was confused. Where was the girls? One of the commanders, Kenji, rushed up to him. Naruto saw him with man as he went to his knees. As Naruto looked around, "Where's the girls?" he asked. Kenji looked around. "I'm sorry?" "Where's the girls?" said Naruto. I don't know." As Naruto felt something strange, he looked around confused. Just what in the hell was going on? His eyes searched through the entire area as Naruto saw it. A strange unknown chakra. He disappeared as he reappeared on top of the roof. What the hell is this? As he was a note there left for him. "We should chat," and coordinates were on it. As Naruto's eyes turned murderous before he vanished in a burst of speed. Moments later, Jigen was sitting down calmly, his legs folded, as he was sitting on a stone platform. To his side was his subordinates, Boru, Diba, Delta. As Jigen was waiting, it was then that he felt the rush of air as Naruto appeared in a second. As Naruto looked towards him, his face neutral and calm. But Jigen could feel the rise in anger beneath the surface. The power that was ready to be exploded outwards. "Where are they?" said Naruto. "You mean those girls you're so fond of?" said Jigen calmly. "Well, I have them." As Naruto placed his hand behind his back. "So this is a guy up close, huh?" said Delta as she looked at Naruto. "Well, he doesn't seem like anything special to me." Diba looked over Naruto. "Well, he is strong. But right now he is greatly weakened after that battle. Think I could take him," Diba said. "What should we do?" asked Boru. As Jigen raised his hand. "I'm not gonna ask again," said Naruto. "Are you gonna tell me or not?" "They're dead," said Jigen. Naruto started to laugh. A laugh that was filled with rage. Before he stopped. "I hope that you're joking. I know that you're the other Osusuki on this earth. It seems like you don't understand what's gonna happen here if you don't hand them over. Or if they're really dead. I won't kill you," said Naruto. "I won't even dream to think of that. But it will be much worse. So where are they?" Jigen looked at Naruto. As the man said nothing. "Where are they?" said Naruto with a shout. The entire canyon shook. "Your temper is rising," said Jigen. "But I can feel it. You're weakened. You fought so much. Not even you can stand up to everything that was thrown against you. And it will take a long while for that immense chakra of yours to reacquaint himself." As Jigen got to his feet, as Naruto's eyes narrowed over the man. "Why don't you show me your real face?" said Naruto. "Well, you saw. Did you know that your mother was the one that did this to me? Forcing me to take a host body over the centuries. And I don't care," said Naruto. "Where's the girls?" "Bow." "What?" "You heard me. Bow." "Bow down to me," said Jigen. "And perhaps I'll tell you where the girls are." As Naruto looked around, barely keeping his anger in check. "You want something? Kill them," said Naruto. Jigen was a bit surprised by that. "Oh, it's an option. Because if you do kill them, I'll annihilate this entire world. I'll blow everything up to smithereens. I will leave nothing at all. All of you here will die. And I'll take you with me," said Naruto, "and put you through hell. So, if you really want to risk that, why don't you do something?" said Naruto. "Because I know you went through a lot to keep them hidden from me. Because I can't sense them, or even summon them back to me. But I'm sure that they're not dead. So where are they?" said Naruto. "Yes, you're right on that. They're not dead. And I do want something," said Jigen. "But to get what I want, I need you to be broken." As Naruto scanned over the man. "You want to take my body," he said. Jigen narrowed his eyes. "Your time is gonna run out soon enough with that host of yours. So you want a new one?" "You want my body," said Naruto. Jigen said nothing. As he simply waved his hand, Delta smirked as she shot forward. Her speed, rushing towards Naruto as he did not move. The girl swung her leg towards him. Her leg then morphed into something. It was like spikes, but like daggers and rocks mixed together, spiking out towards him to impale him. Naruto ducked under it before bringing his hand up. She brought her other leg down as he moved. It teared through the earth. As she twists and swung it around. As Naruto jumped to the side, Hundreds of small, strange pellets were shot towards them. He waved his hand as they were blown away. As Naruto's eyes locked with Jigen, "I'm not here to play with your lackeys," said Naruto as he clenched his fists. "Tell me, where they are right now?" "I overheard your conversation, and I heard what happened to your brothers, how they were brought back. I heard that the god of death wants you gone. So I'm sure if they were to die, you wouldn't be able to bring back their souls, because he will hold on to them. You are strong, Naruto Osusuke. But can you face off against the god of death and win?" As Naruto's eyes narrowed at that, this man was implying something that Naruto refused to accept. As Naruto's hands started to tighten so tight that blood was leaking from his palms. "Have you figured it out yet?" asked Jigen. Meanwhile, the god of death stood as he looked down at his new arrivals. These ones were special more than the others. As he just looked at them, as the 4 girls there looked around confused, the last thing to remember was it was so quick. They were taken and then a pain through their chests, a rod, and it was this. "Well, this is surely an intriguing development," the god of death said. That was not all. There was a smaller life form there. Smaller like a baby who had been relinquished before it could fully form. Back towards the earth. Jigen tear opened space and time. Bodies fell. As Naruto's eyes watched each of the body fell down to the ground. Naruto stepped forward. He was moving like a robot. The others went to stop him, but he raised his hand, Jigen did, stopping the others from attacking Naruto. They looked at him confused. As Naruto looked down the bodies, each of them with a rod in their chests, his eyes were unfocused, dilated. As he stood back up, he refused to accept this. As he stepped back, he looked towards the face of Guren, Teiwaya, Karin, and Dad. As Naruto looked down towards the ground to his side, there was a fond image. Something that would never be real now, it seems. Of a child that looked just like him, running around calling him Dad. Dad! As a single tear dropped from Naruto's eye, he staggered back. BAM! He was thrown as Jigen's fist smashed into his face. As Naruto was in the side of the wall, but yet he did not move. His eyes looked dilated. As, over towards the distance, Ragnarok felt something strange. He had long time slaughtered that massive beast a long time ago. As his master would return soon enough, but something was happening. What was this, Ragnarok thought to himself. Meanwhile, boom! Jigen's fist smashed into Naruto's face once again. As he picked Naruto up by the head and lifted him up. "Now, do not try to fight against me," said Jigen. It was really easy from here forth to put the karma on Naruto and then take his body. The reason why he wanted to do it when Naruto was broken was because Naruto will could still fight against him, and it would be unknown which one of them would come out on top. Because it was Naruto's body and Jigen was an invader, it would be hard for him to take fully control. So that is why he wanted Naruto to lose everything, to realize there is no hope left. This could happen in one or two ways. Naruto completely losing it and erupt in a unnatural power and using everything he has, or for him to be broken. Jigen was happy that it was the one that he expected, as Naruto's eyes did not really seem to be looking at him. "You killed them," said Naruto. "That I did," said Jigen as he threw Naruto down towards the ground. Rods appearing and stabbing through Naruto's flesh, pinning him down on the ground. If he was still able to speak like this, his will was not yet broken. You will never see them again. They're completely gone. And the only way to get them back is to go head to head with the god of death. Something that you're not ready for. You would lose. So just stay there and accept your fate. As Jigen raised his hand. As Naruto just kept on looking at him. As Naruto heard a voice in his head. That was definitely not the 10 Tails. But something spoke to him.
Let me out. Release me. Release me. Release me.
As whatever it was, it wanted to be free.
Release me. Release me.
It kept on saying over and over again. The thing, whatever it was, that creature, that strange anomaly that was inside Naruto's mind speaking to him. It felt the hold that Naruto had on it weaken. What was this thing? What did Naruto have inside of him that was begging for a sweet release? What has Jigen done? This really wasn't going to turn out in his favor, is it? But you guys have to find out that on the next episode of What If Naruto was betrayed by Hagoromo. Because I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.